ignites, riding through the fire into the night. Clubs and chrome, stories unfold on the edge of the road where the legends roll. This is the biker angle, raw and real. Hollywood and Black Dragon on the steel. Use respect and the open road. Two wheels, one voice, breaking the code. No filters, no BS. Just bikes, brotherhood, and the truth.
What's up, all? How you guys doing? What's up, ED? We got a good one today. I know it upset me and you a bunch after we watched it, but also I know a lot of people out there are pretty upset, especially in the club scene. I heard it all day today about how the portrayal is in the internet realm, if you will. What's up, Shocker? Everybody else in the chat room, BD's in there. You can give memberships, stars over on Facebook, all that good stuff to both channels if you'd like, or join up the members only. So, Wannabe bike experts, creators on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I think this is one that lit a fire up your ass hairs, isn't it, BD? Because I know you called me at 7:30 in the morning. Hey, did you see that? I was like, man, I haven't even got up, man. I haven't even freaking, anyway, go ahead, BD. Hey, we got Carlos in here.
Yeah, what's up, Carlos? Wild on 2, man. Good to see you. Yeah, man, this was great. So there was this Vice, Vice, what is it? Vice, whatever they're called, the channel, and they just released their whole thing called the war against the pagans and Hell's Angels, and really it was the war between the pagans and Hell's Angels part probably took 8 minutes, right, and the rest of it was an indictment against the pagans, and then towards the end, another 2 minutes towards this whole war. So it was like the master bait and click, clickbait, switch bait and switch thing, where they just really wanted to trash the pagans or give their history or whatever the hell it is that they thought they were doing. And it was just, man, after I was watching it for a few minutes, I called you up, Hollywood. Did you see this shit? And I feel...
What's up, Chris?
I feel a little responsible for it. It's your fault, James.
Why is it my fault?
It's your fault. Because they asked you to go on first before they...
Yes, they did.
Before they featured their little symbiotes, and you told them to kiss your white ass, I think.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Kiss it right there on the right cheek.
Yeah, and then and they asked me, and I made a whole video about telling them to kiss my black ass, and it's our fault. It's our fault.
What do you think? We should have went and did it after that one?
We should have gone. We at least they would have gotten. They wouldn't have been able to color it like they did with the experts,
so-called experts
that they used.
I seen. They always use it with the freaking cops. I get that with the, the coppers and the DAs and stuff. But when you start trying to call people experts in especially our niche, and you look at it, it's like, you don't have a damn motorcycle, or you never been in a club. What are you talking about? Dude, I was flipping shit. I was. One thing that, thanks, Carney. One thing about, because I was out talking to a club today, and you were out talking to clubs this weekend. At least they know we're honest.
Yes.
They
You know
bitch
what?
they bitch and moan about us, but at least they're honest.
So
We'd
Yeah.
rather have you guys, burn our ass than these other nobodies.
So it's interesting because you talk about the clubs today. Today I went to a meeting, and I was there with a whole bunch of 1% clubs. Like all these fucking these dudes. What am I cussing for? All of these dudes there, and I mean they're mean dudes. And one of the clubs I just so happened to feature, I think Friday. And so you're there and you're like, I wonder if these guys are going to be mad at me because I featured their club. Instead, love, respect, and I don't drink. They all did a toast with me, and I had them splash me some Jack Daniels in the bottom of my cup. I got a splash.
There you go.
I thought they said, "You want a Sprite?" And I said, "No, I won't toast with a Sprite with you guys." So I got a splash of Jack Daniels, and then some other guys wanted to come in on a toast, so I got some guys Jack Daniels. He poured another splash, and hey man, that damn splash almost took my ass out. But I was like burning all down. I just don't get why people drink. But you know what?
I don't drink. I haven't drank since '97, dude.
I kind of liked the caramel kind of taste a little bit. That was interesting. But diabetics shouldn't be drinking.
Yeah, you don't want that shit, dude. But both of us were with a club this weekend.
Yes,
or
you
club.
were with a major club this weekend.
And it's like, that's what I heard about it. It wasn't, they nitpick at me. It's like, dude, man, why this? Why this? I was like, well, why your dudes doing this and that, you dumbasses? But they really don't like, I'm not going to say club names at all. They really do not like these guys that are trying to, tell everybody that they're an expert on something. They really don't like. I don't know how it is around the clubs you were at, but they really don't like it.
It is interesting, but they came for us first. But it shows you they're going to get them a damn expert. Whether it's an expert or not an expert, they're going to get one. And anybody that's got the gonads to have a channel may be called upon. And like no one, they'll put up like the podcaster's name, but no stats. No. Mm-hmm. And people believe what they see. They believe what they see on these shows. They believe it. And I understand the cop ones and the DEA agents and the former DEA agents and the retired prosecutors. I mean, I get them. They have a line that they're going to walk and a line that they're going to talk. An expert, however, should be someone who can tell both sides of the story fairly and equally, and not be so on one side or another that that they're towing the line that the producers want to get out, or the police line, or anything like that.
That's what I saw.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Here you are supposed to be a biker expert, but you're here towing you're not even pushing back on law enforcement.
You're not even pushing back on some of that stuff they say.
Yeah, that's the one we're talking about right now, Gage, is that newest Vice documentary or whatever. But yeah, they didn't even push back on it. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
And you have to wonder how much of that was not pushing back and how much of that was editing. Because if you didn't get to hear the other people talking, maybe you don't get to push back like you could if you had heard the BS. Which is why people like you and I, we're not going to comment on those things until we see everything. We're going to ask you what your line is. We're going to ask you what you're trying to accomplish. We're going to know more. And then one of the things that I do is I'm like, and you make sure to quote me in the context in which I'm speaking, or I'm going to sue your ass.
Well, with me, you know, I haven't done it, but if I have to again, I'm going to ask them for an unedited copy or a transcript. That's one way of stopping that crap.
Because I saw what they did to you, and it was horrendous. It was horrendous. So when they came out, hey, Chris Leach, new member. Thanks a lot, man. Whoever you signed up with, thank you, Chris Leach. I think he signed up on your side.
Thanks, Chris. Now, one thing, dude, you know, you do all the motorcycle club history and all that stuff. How did it really make you feel seeing this, that they're portraying these people as experts when, like I told you, they basically probably just watch us and then they go off of what we say? You could tell.
I felt I felt like it was horrible. I was really mad about it. I was mad enough to pick up the phone and call you.
Yeah, at 7:30 in the morning. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you, dying or something?
Yeah, you did pick up the phone. Like, what? I didn't even know. I didn't even realize it was 7:30 in the morning. I was looking at this thing, and I started seeing these motorcycle club protocol experts or motorcycle club experts come on. And these guys have obviously watched something somewhere. They know the external story. But they don't know any players. They don't know any people. They don't hang around or associate with these folks. Like, how many of them were with the clubs that they report on this weekend? You were. I was. Looking them eye to eye, face to face. Hearing them bitch and moan if that's what they want to do. They tell me, Black Dragon, this is a non-internet thing. Do I look like an internet guy to you?
Yeah, they did use the same narrator they do with the gangland stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the angle that they're trying to go after, is that angle right there, is the gangland stuff. And it doesn't help when, you know, and we actually were saying to ourselves, damn, maybe we should have went on those things. That it would have at least gave them pushback.
Mm-hmm.
But now we see what happens when, you know, somebody that's never rode or never was around a club are trying to act like experts in this particular niche, how it ends up.
They asked us first, though, Hollywood.
Well, they did.
First.
They did.
And you know, we didn't respond and stuff like that. We didn't get back to them. Here's why I didn't get back to them. I'm trying to find the email right now. One of the things that I thought was nasty was they were asking for, we'll interview people even if they're, okay, so here's the thing to know. Nobody that you saw in being interviewed could possibly be a current club member.
Nope.
But there were folks sitting with full colors on. Was that a current club member? I don't think so.
No, that was a grandkid of the founder and stuff, and I guarantee there's no way he'd be not in the way they were going off on them.
But he's sitting there in full colors, wasn't he?
That he was.
He was sitting there in full colors. So I'm just like, well, damn, pagans, is that right? Because I've been trying to interview you mofos forever, man. Where's my interview, man? I need my interview right now.
Yeah, that's why Gage, I wouldn't go on unless I get a full transcript. Would not go back on. But that says something that you have to warn the audiences about, is you do get these people that are in this prison niche that try to come out and talk about bikers because
they a lot lately.
Because they think they know. You don't, just because you went to prison, you idiot. Doesn't mean you know what the hell you're talking about when it comes to this deal. We've been in it over 30 years and we still don't know all about it.
And I managed so far not to go to prison. So you don't have to have that as a thing. I hope. It's
Right.
crazy. It's crazy. And
What would you say to everybody who actually watches this kind of stuff and those type of people?
so there's just something about being on television, being on these shows, being on the internet. There's just something about it that still gives credibility. And I mean, I find it so even with myself, there's just something about it that gives credibility. And you almost can't tell people not to believe in it, even though they probably shouldn't. If you check out the histories of the people that they're using as so-called experts, one of the things that I remember is that in the email, let's see, did I find it? In the email, they told me, we don't mind if we're looking for Hell's Angels to talk to, ex-Hell's Angels, they said, and ex-banditos. Not banditos, but ex-pagans. And it doesn't matter whether or not they want to show their face. If we have to, we'll put a mask on them. So what is that? What fairness is that to the club? An ex-member who could be out, they don't put ex-member out bad, no trial. Or ex-member out bad, trial, booted for stealing and screwing another club brother's wife. Now, with a moniker like that, then you'd be able to decide whether or not, you wanted to believe in what the guy said. Mm. But instead, they might put former member down. And so when you hear stuff like former member, that gives the guy automatic credibility, when perhaps maybe if you knew more about that person, you wouldn't assign them that credibility. Mm-hmm. So there's no truth in it. There's no 100% truth in it. And right. And so that was a problem for me. That's one of the reasons that so I was like, well, why on earth, and do you know anyone like that? Well, that's not, how we get down. We don't get down like that. So that's one of the reasons I didn't go, because they did not seem to have, here it is. If you want me to, I will share this so you can see this. Says, I hope you're doing well. She said her name. I'm a producer on a Vice docuseries on Hell's Angels and other rivalry gangs. So first of all, you lost me with that. I'm currently looking for a member of the Outlaws Club to interview. Outlaws. Yeah, so it was Outlaws. I came across your YouTube channel, and I wanted to see if you know of any outlaws that could potentially be interviewed. We could potentially do an anonymous audio interview if that's the only possibility. So
they're trying to use whoever to get numbers on.
I was like, wow, I'm not fixing to be messing with that.
Maybe the wannabes want 15 minutes of fame, not the way to get it. You got that right, Craig. Yeah. You got that right. One thing about us is we've had our faces in front of everybody for what in the scene, over 8-9 years now. And you built that trust with clubs. You're not going to throw it away with that BS.
I wanted to follow up on this. We have 2 more weeks of filming and would love to schedule an interview with someone if it's possible. it would be about the general history of the Outlaws, what TIE mean, what IE mean, what it means to be an outlaw, their experience as an outlaw, and their relationship with other motorcycle clubs. So this wasn't even about the pagans one, especially the Hells Angels, if they can speak to that, whatever they are willing to share, whatever they are willing to share.
So they just be able to say, "Hey, we got this one on," and try to spin it. But did you see there was absolutely no pushback whatsoever? None. No push up, no push back whatsoever from them.
I was like, man, stop playing with me.
Yeah, this is about the United Gangs of America Vice thing. That's the one we were talking about. BD called me at 7:30, so I had to skim through and watch it because I couldn't watch it whole, dude. I was getting pissed, especially when these so-called biker experts came on.
And they were able to regurgitate some things, but it wasn't much above the rah-rah. When there's no nuance. There's not much above the rah-rah. The rah-rah is always, yeah, man, if you mess with those guys, they'll kill you.
Yeah.
Rah-rah. Oh, man, those two guys, I imagine if a guy's colors was messed with, he'd break your nose. I mean, there was no in-depth.
There was no insight of what it was really about.
Yeah, MC Protocol calls for this and the history of that, and there was none of that.
And the reason why there was none of it is because they've never been around it. They never even rode a bike. So there's no way of giving insight into that kind of stuff unless you actually been there and done that.
Right. And I never even try to speak in the first person about that. I wasn't there. I always try to speak as an observer.
Mm-hmm.
Been around a lot of them, hang around a lot of them. Been in meetings and on and on and on. But
so, you thought this was a perfect one, to wannabe biker experts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And I guess we're just letting you guys know, hey, man, you better be careful with, who you're believing. Just because they got a YouTube channel, shit, you can get a YouTube channel. You know what I mean? I didn't even know who the guy was until you told me who it was. And I was like, okay, I still don't know who the guy is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you don't know who he is, but what's up, Black Dragon? One thing that is a fact, has been a fact in regards to prison and jails, is all the big MCs, even the major ones, have zero pull on the inside.
That might be true. But what does that have to do with on the outside? You know what I mean? And if that's the case, then you might know something from the inside, but you don't know nothing on the outside.
Did somebody just bring up a name that we haven't heard in years?
Who?
Chuck Gines. Somebody just brought up the name Chuck Gines, the Desert Rat. Oh my God. That guy's been watching us forever.
Stacks interviewed past 81 in Biker News Canada. Okay. So does that make him an expert?
Stacks has interviewed past 81. And I guess so has Biker News Canada. Is that what he's saying? Well, Biker News Canada, we know, is a retired from the top 5. He's from a top 5 club.
Yeah, we know that for sure.
Yeah, we know that for sure. He's absolutely verified in this arena.
And that's one thing I used to do was help people get their channel. I don't do it anymore, man.
Yes, you did. And I'd be yelling at you the whole time.
You would. And now I know why you did it, man, because it's like, man, you get these guys going and then you find out a bunch of shit. And it's
you would give them everything. You would give them everything. You would give them your old rigs. You would give people everything. You would give them your whole studios. And I'd just be like, He's going to give away another studio.
Well, Glare has a good point. I wasn't saying that he's an expert, just saying why they put him on there. And I bet a lot of guys in the blue world, man, they ain't too happy with him right now.
They put him on there because I guess we wouldn't go.
Thanks, Carney. Much love. But yeah, do you think the 16 are happy with him about that one?
Oh, the jean vest guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't think they are. So Glare, no, I don't know why they did. I don't know him too well. I'm getting if we're talking about chatting with Stacks, I don't know him too well at all. I personally don't know his background. But I was wondering, very frankly, like, what was his pedigree? What's his background to be able to talk on that?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
He was very positive. I mean, he was very confident in his talking. D said Stacks is probably on because you guys said no, because he's interviewed a lot of ex-mafia guys too. So I don't know. Maybe he knows. Biker Podcast Clips Unofficial says Stacks is cool, but from what I understand, he's never been in a club. That's crazy that they went to him. Yeah, I just don't see how, if you've never been in a club. Hey, those cops on the show have never been in clubs either, but some of them have at least penetrated clubs.
What's up, Chop? Like I said, I never seen the guy. Maybe I should look at his channel. But I just come from the aspect of you want to be actually, and I think there was, how many episodes of this stuff is there? There wasn't just the past one. Has there?
I don't know. I just was I was just like chatting with Stacks. Is he in the biker community?
I don't know. Maybe you should. You know what? Maybe we should interview him.
Oh yeah, chatting with Stacks. Well, he's asked me to be on his show, and I thought he was the prison genre. I don't know much about him, but he visits my show every day, and I always shout him out and say hello like I do everyone, and I'm always cordial.
Well, you should see if he wants to come on the angle, man. We'd talk to him.
I'll ask him. Yeah. Maybe he has a maybe. Yeah, my old man was one. Maybe I grew up there, and I know all about it. I've got 45 years. I've grown up in it. You'd be blown away. Oh, I didn't know that. Biker News Canada says Stacks is a former gangbanger who started doing gangsters and went to bikers for stories. Well, there you go.
Friday, I'd like to get in a room with him.
Everybody keeps, a lot of people keep coming into our thing, but how they had him on as an expert in the war between the Hells Angels and the pagans.
You know what I didn't like about it? If you're going to bring in expert for bikers, you better push back against their bullshit that the cops are spewing. I know me and you would have pushed back. I know I would have pushed back against them, but I didn't see any pushback. It was just agreeing with them. Agreeing with the cops. You can't do that, man. If you're supposed to be, that's like me or you. We're called as expert witnesses in a court trial because we got a lot of people that want us to do that stuff. I'm not going to sit there and not say, hey, man, these freaking cops, and I know this for a fact, they got these people in there that actually go around to try to make the club members do some stupid crap just so they can get a case going on. But I would at least push back about what a lot of that stuff they were saying.
So you have to wonder how much of that did he get to hear about? If they interviewed the cop over there and they interviewed you over here, and that's why you have to know this thing, because the interview questions can set you up to make you look like you're agreeing with those folks over there. So
Right.
you have to know enough to push back against the interview questions you're being asked. Like, you got to know enough about MC protocol and the history of this, and you got to know enough to be able to push back against the questions you're being asked, because you might not be there when they're interviewing the assistant deputy director DA in Tulsa, Oklahoma somewhere, and you're living in Canada.
Well, you got to know how to turn the questions back onto them is what you got to do. If you ever looked at some of my interviews at the Houston Chronicle or LA Times, all that, I always throw it right back at them. And they only end up taking a quote or two of mine is because I don't give them what they want.
Nor do I.
So that's
Stax doesn't pretend to be a biker. He's one of those streets perspective true crime guys for the most part, and has noticed that the biker stuff gets views. They used him as an Biker News Canada. They used him as an expert on the latest biker show on Vice. Yeah, well, that's what we're talking about.
No, was exactly, he did what most would. Yeah, if you've been in the business though, Biker News Canada, you wouldn't have, because you know how these people treat you. So why don't you reach out to him, man? See if you get him on.
I will.
Come on with the big biker dogs.
Little man, 1%er says, there's no doubt you guys are the authority on the bike set and you're being copied all over the place. So my suggestion is to keep stepping your game up and setting the bat higher and higher. I've seen Stack's channel. He seems to have some good interviews. Yeah, a lot of people. Somebody came on my channel and says, after Stack's talked about it, you are so boring, Black Dragon. Sorry. Well, what are you over here for? Like, go back.
Are you going to do cartwheels?
Am I supposed to do TikTok dances? Oh, but anyway, I'm heading to bed. Good night, says Bikers Across the Nation. Good night, man. Biker News Canada says, that's how I do my crime stories about bikers. I remind the viewers that nothing is proven in court. Friday 1%er says Stax is all about making himself look good, but he puts his own biased opinions out as facts, like the National Enquirer. Shout out to Stax, said Biker Podcast Unofficial. Shout out to Stax, though. Don't get mad at dude. If anything, question Vice's motives. Oh, well. Yeah, we absolutely, definitely question their motives. Their motives are simple. And you should see the commercials they were running through that whole thing. And it was just like they're making money off of the whole mystique of bikerism and the whole thing. And at 4:15 p.m., he knew he had suddenly effed up. And then they cuss. Then the guy will cuss. He's in a bunch of shit today. Like, dude, you don't even sound right. And it's really good. I mean, it's good TV.
So Stone don't do it either, Biker Podcast. He won't do it. Me and BD haven't done it.
I know they must have asked him.
Oh, yeah.
They must have asked him.
And they all see the same way we do.
And I don't even like that guy. I don't like that guy.
Biker News Canada, he's re-airing your interview right now.
Who's re-airing my interview?
No, I guess that Stax guy is re-interviewing or is running a rerun of his interview with Biker News Canada. But
I don't even like that guy at all. But that guy Sosa, I don't like him at all. But I have yet to see him do anything like that. I've yet to see him on there doing that. So they had to go to him. He's got one of the biggest channels. They had to go to him.
So I think that's what we'll do, guys. We'll try to get this Stax on the show, interview him a little bit. I think he'll have fun with me and you. I think he will. It's not I'm going to try to trap him or anything. I don't do that.
Shit.
I just let you talk, man.
Yeah, you're the trap king.
No, why the hell would you say that, man? You know, all I do is ask a question and they freaking talk. And then when I see an opening,
Ask poor Twitch 1%er.
screw that guy. He walked into that. I guess he was in a street gang. Hold on a second here.
This guy right here, the Kraut. I had John at RPM in National City keeping Mr. and Parts and Ching Shin Tires. I used to go to RPM all the time. I think he might be talking about me. I used to go there. Is it even still a place? 30 years, in 1995, man, we used to go up there and buy our tires and everything.
No, don't do it. All the real 1%ers in here, please put out this out for these clowns to get whatever is coming to them. A fake 1%er and a clown 99. Gotta love the haters, man.
Oh, is that what they said about me and you?
Yeah.
Oh, the real 1%ers in here, please put this out for these clowns to get whatever is coming to them. A fake 1%er and a clown 99.
You gotta love our haters, man.
Ouch.
This is kind of guy who probably goes, down to the corner, drops his pants, he gets freaking pimped out, that kind of stuff. That's the kind of guy this is. Probably.
What makes you a fake 1%er? Like, if you had the jewelry and you wore it and you were in the club, what's fake about that?
I don't know, but with a guy named Juice, he's been watching. He took his nickname from Son of Anarchy, man. You know what happened to Juice, man? He's getting in the behind.
Yeah, he did go out for the club.
That's what old Jones reminds
so
me
disgusting, Juice. What the hell are you doing here? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
This is so disgusting.
I'll just keep watching.
But hey, we're supposed to shut up, stupid. See, these haters don't even have anything good, dude. If you're gonna roast on us, at least roast something good. Seriously.
D without the ush says, I usually like the real content from Stacks, but he stretches it out. But I still like the content. So, not everybody's going to like everything that anybody does, but they still keep coming, don't they, Juice? They still keep coming to watch us. They still keep coming. Stockman, never go to MMA runs and meetings. Friday 1%er, but hey, here we are all talking about the guy. So I guess he's getting what he wants, people to talk about him. Well,
so your name dropping, Juice. Bandito is Washington. That means what to me? That means what to me? That you want to make up a name out of thin air? See, this is what I mean. I can always tell when somebody's in a club and they're not or have been. And you definitely can tell this dude is a freaking freak. Bandito's why
would you in an earlier statement say for these guys to get what's coming to them and then later name drop your club? Like they watch our channels all the time, and that's how they get y'all. That nobody has to do anything. Nobody has to tell on you. Nobody has to be the real rats, as he wrote earlier. These two are the real rats. No one's got to tell on your ass. You just do it all by yourself.
And if that's true, why are we being invited to all the club stuff? Anyway, Hardwire, I know where Hollywood came from, and he ain't fake. He may not be in a club anymore, but he was. I know that. Yeah. And you never saw me ever use that to my advantage in any of my stuff. Never even brought it up.
So what's your handle, Juice?
Yeah, we can verify if you'd like. Just let us know. We can verify that within 24 hours.
Hey, what's up, Kitty?
Oh my God. You gotta love them, BD. See, that's what I love. I love being able to roast freaking haters.
Not everybody likes us.
It happens. It happens. But you got anything else, BD? These guys make me laugh.
No, I'm just, my feelings are hurt.
Why you're feeling hurt from somebody like that schmuck?
Yeah, I want everyone to like me. I do. I want everyone to like me. Too bad it won't happen. I'll just have to get my love from my dog here. What's up,
Just
man?
let me know Friday. I'll see if I can make it. I know BD might be able to try to make it too out in Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
You just got to let us know. But I think, you know what? I think the moral of the story here is if you're going to go on as a biker expert, at least take the biker side and push back. You know what I mean? Because
so many things were said in that video that just, in my opinion, were misleading or just over the top. A lot of the rah gang stuff, and the rah gang stuff is just too much for not to be pushed back on. And the one thing that people have always found about us is, I'm not going to say Juice that I don't tell stories. I don't report stories. I'm not going to say that I don't. I absolutely do. But I'm going to report the truth, and I'm going to report both sides of the story. And I'm not going to follow this lamestream news gang thing and all of that. So in that way, I think my credibility has been earned. Hey, this is how Friday 1%. This is a number you can call me on or text me, whatever. 446920336. So.
Two that don't run any colors. Lots of laugh. This freaking moron.
Actually, I do run colors. And
you know what? At least we're honest about, and I think that's one thing we're honest about stuff.
I've been honest about every single solitary thing that has happened to me because people look at me and they read my books and they watch me. And so, the national president of my motorcycle club did get on this channel and tell everyone that I was put out bad. And he did absolutely forward some so-called paperwork about me that was a Word document. But he never gave me a trial. And the father and founder of the Black Sabbath MC Nation said himself, hey, this man ain't out of shit. You got to have a trial to be put out. So, yes, I still run colors. I still have colors, and nobody's come to take my colors away. So, LOL that.
Thanks, DCL. You know, one of the things I think we are honest about when we do report news is, we're human beings. We got loyalty to certain people. And you have to, and that's one thing I don't like about mainstream media. We know you're on the DNC's payroll. At least say that.
At least say
at least say, hey,
big words. You're not from Black Sabbath anymore. How the hell do you know? Who are you? How do you know?
But I think that's real important because, like when the one story went out, I actually just brought it up and I let you go with it because I do have biases. I'm Chicago. What do you think I'm going to back? Yeah. I'm going to back AOA during that whole damn thing. So I can't do that story that much, where I got to let you do something like that.
We talked about it.
And we did talk about it. I think you did a great job covering it, but how am I going to cover in depth an AOA story if those are the ones that I support? That's the ones I've been around all my life. I can't do that. And it's not fair to our listeners if I do some shit like that.
Did he say he was in Washington?
Yeah.
There's no Black Sabbath chapter in Washington, liar.
But like you, when
I
there's
spread the Black Sabbath all across the United States of America. I know exactly where the chapters are. I put them there, and there's no chapter anywhere in the state of Washington. So, damn. There's a chapter here, and they don't recognize you at all. Yeah, that's because there's no chapter there to be recognized.
and with you, I won't do the black set because I don't know nothing about the black set, dude. So why am I going to talk about it? I think that's where me and you differ from these other people. So that are doing this stuff.
I don't know, man. But one thing I tell you, I feel so blessed to have met so many of these bikers across the country, and it's gotten so crazy, man. I'm on an airplane flying out to go see the young guys up there in New York last week, and even in the airport, it was so cool to people walk up and want to take pictures with you and stuff. So I've been blessed to have haters and fans, and you're not going to be in this thing without both. You're just not going to be public. Hey, you name your president. At most they only get 50%. At most 50, 60%. Most of the time they're underwater at 30%. Like no one likes anyone. You name your president. Nobody has ever had 100%. You name your whomever. Nobody's at 100%. We do what we do, man. Do the best we can.
I love when someone tries to tell you there's a chapter somewhere that has members. No, that there's none. People say the silliest. He's right, dude. That's why I always say in my videos, man, when you're making comments, I'll know if you're in a club or not just by the way you're talking.
Following these two is a path to get put out bad. Wow.
Dude, don't you got to
tell that to my hundreds of thousands of readers who have purchased my books all over the United States of America, like my newest book, Motorcycle Club Protocol 101. Available at BikeRidersGear.com.
Get that one in there. He had to get that one.
Shameless plug.
So we're going to try to get, who's this guy again? We're going to try to get him on. Who is it?
Chatting with Stacks.
Yeah, we're going to try to get him on, and we're going to try. You know what? I should get Biker News Canada on, man.
Now, Biker News Canada is a cool dude, man. I got his book.
I've had him on.
I got his book. I always keep his book close so I can shout it out. Man, where's Biker News Canada's book?
Who else would you guys want us to interview, man? Because we're going to get this show popping, man, with some interviews like we used to. So let us know who you want us to interview. New ones or old ones. Are they reading the other dude's comment? I'm not seeing the haters.
One Night at the Playpen by Michael Jarvie. Biker News Canada, 2nd edition. This is a book about some of his life as a 1%er in one of the oldest 1% motorcycle clubs in the world. Yeah.
Well, Hardwire, you're right about that. All the rules that you do see are very regional. And I've told this to BD a lot. If you come to Chicago and call yourself a 99%er, you're going to get fucking cracked because there's only one 99%er, and that's DC Eagles here in Chicago. So, yeah, it's very regional. You know, you don't hear the term 99%er around here. Never. Because that's a DC Eagle thing. They've had that since the 60s. Hell yeah. Come on. We'll talk. You know what? We get you on next week, next Sunday, Biker News. Then we'll try to get that. I keep on forgetting his name. The chatting guy.
You see jbunchii question up there?
Who?
1021.
If you guys got questions, go ahead and shoot them out, man. We're just chilling now.
Yeah, we're just chilling now.
Please interview Juice Jones now. Doing the last 5 minutes on our show. He'd be crying, going back. Oh, Hollywood spanked me. Is it true that the pagans have patched over some of the Iron Order? I don't know, Jay. I don't get into that kind of stuff. That's just, I'm biker news. I try to stay out of the politics stuff side of that. I'll come again. Oh, that's girls. BNC is old school, cool ID. Kick it with him.
Scooter Tramp Scotty and his life story is very interesting. Yeah, Scooter Tramp. I think I actually got to meet that guy at a.
Yeah, I've interviewed him. Maybe I have to reach out and get him again, man. I really enjoyed Scotty's interview.
You know who I need to interview again? Jake Sawyer, XL's Angel.
He was badass, dude. He was old.
Badass. We need to get him back. I'm going to call it.
Is he alive still or what?
I hope so. He's got to be like 88 or something.
You know what? Those older guys, man, they're just badass. Listen to them. You sit there and wish, hey, man, I wish I was in the 60s when this was going on. That was a badass time, I bet, man. That was the real deal back then. They said they patched over a bunch of people, but you don't know what's true on those documentaries. Again, Gage, we know the behind the scenes stuff, but ever since I came back doing a lot of the biker news stuff, I try to be centered and not one way or another, because I believe that's the fairest way to do it for all you guys.
There's enough truth in these documentaries to move them forward, where they can be accepted as true. How this or that may have happened, but the nuance of how it happened or why it happened is often missed. And so they draw conclusions, or there are conclusions to be drawn that might not necessarily be what actually happened. Which is why I say whenever I read a news story, I'm like, I'm reading this story. I'm not breaking this news. And there's a difference. When I break a story, then I'm there with documents, this, that, and the other, people to interview, blah, 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 because I'm breaking a story. But most of the time, I don't have the staff to break many stories. Most of the time, I'm reading a story. And when I read a story, there are a few things I say. One, nobody's been to jail yet. No, there's been no court case. There's been no adjudication. This is the story that's being told from the mainstream media. And sometimes we find so many issues in those stories, which is why you came about, first of all, with the biker angle all those years ago in 2016 or so, when you hit with the biker angle, because all the stories were so horribly skewed against clubs. And everybody was a gang and this, that, and the other. And we were the first ones you were the first one, and me shortly after, to push back against those narratives. And what we do see in news reporting now is there's a hell of a lot more, this is a motorcycle club, and a hell of a lot less biker gangs all the time. And I think we had something to do with that.
On that topic, you guys see the dude roll up on those Cornball twins' mom's house? Who's the Cornball twins? Is there twins or something?
No, I haven't. I don't know.
I really got to start watching social media again.
I hope that he's not talking about the Outlaw twins. I don't remember any twins in the video that we're talking about.
Who's Outlaw twins?
Oh, that's a whole nother story. Two guys that are just giving the internet hell right now. Twin Outlaw, yeah. No, I didn't see. Somebody rolled up on their grandma's house. Why would they do that?
I don't know.
MacGyver said, I have 1,001 stories for y'all. Giving you love here too, Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood, Kitty wasn't giving you any love. I guess you got a little love just now. More good history of clubs would be great. After all, MCs, cultures, American history, we would love to see the great side of it. We can do some stuff like that.
That's what I really like to do, is keep it towards more, because I always got to do that biker news during the week. And a lot of people don't understand. I really don't like doing it, but I do it.
I really appreciate you both. And you guys are showing everyone how to live this motorcycle life. But what happened with Big Cell and Preach and Teach?
Oh, you don't want to get me on Big Cell that cop as a what are you doing? Twin out. I gotta watch. Where do I watch?
You don't know who Twin Outlaws is, really? I didn't know. I can't fault you because I didn't know until recently. But they're two. They're a. Do you say a set of twins?
They're not. They're not outlaws, are they?
They're a set of twins that have like 1% patches on and stuff, and they've got like their own.
They're not outlaws then.
They're twin outlaws. They're
from the club.
They have their own. No, they're not outlaws. MC. No. It doesn't say outlaws. It says twin outlaw. you missed. There's no S. And so they've been challenging all the 1% clubs and all this, that, and the other. And
you know what I should do is get my old regional on. I already interviewed him once about the how the West Side AOA in Chicago became the West Side. I should see if he'd come back on and talk more history with us.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I've always wanted to, like, I want to interview all of the top clubs' national presidents. And
I wish Tommy was, I ain't going to get out. He got what they did to him anyway. Go ahead and bucket.
But it's not over. I mean, he hasn't had a trial yet, has he?
They're railroading him, dude. That's all they're doing.
There's still hope for him. There's still hope. All the BS they did, no bail and all of that is a little extreme. Is a lot extreme. But they still got to prove it in court. Will he have anything left in his life when the 6 years goes by and they finally find him not guilty or whatever? That's another question.
That man is hardcore, dude. He's true. I'm not going to get into that stuff, but yeah, I'll try to freaking see if he come out.
I would love to interview like all the nationals of the big clubs. I don't want to talk about the politics and the BS. I want to talk about the riding and the clubs and the order and what it's like. You know, I really would like to interview those guys and talk about the biker club life and their takes on it and stuff like that. And it's just such a shame that they have this damn near.
Juice was just trolling us, man. Juice is all right, man.
Yeah, Juice is all right. Twin Outlaws want to be bikers in Colorado, and they're trying to get themselves unalived, says Sonia K. Yeah, I'm surprised you don't know about them. They're
not. Friday just said they're not out. Okay. I was like, why are you busting on them? Go ahead.
No, they're not outlaws, MC. No.
Oh, okay. Dude, now I feel stupid.
Now, listen, you're not going to watch. You don't feel stupid because you didn't miss anything. You would have seen those guys and just flashed past them. It's the rest of the world that's looking at no real guy in a motorcycle club is even going to waste 2 minutes on that mess.
And they're on YouTube?
They're on TikTok mostly, but I think they're on every platform.
Oh, okay. TikTok.
Party Representative says club history is an important part of our culture. Keeping it alive is crucial. It absolutely is, man. They're called their club is called Twin Outlaw Brotherhood. That's what it is. They call themselves Twin Outlaws.
You know who I'd like to really freaking interview, man, is one of the guys that are in their 70s or 80s that can really give me, because I want to hear somebody from the 60s era, you know, when they were 20, 30 years old. I want to hear about actually what that era was like for them. But from a, you know, because I've, you know, here in Chicago, the guys and stuff, but I want to hear from somebody on the West or the East Coast, you know, a Hell's Angel, a Pagan, or, you know, a Mongol. What was it like in the 60s? A Warlock, something like that. You know what I mean?
I once got to meet a Pagan that at that time he had been in the second longest of any Pagan. He was a truck driver. This guy was driving an 18-wheeler to take care of his grandchildren because I think their mother died or something. And we met him out on the road. And,
I've talked to Jake Kraut. Jake is freaking the bomb. He is
Oh, Jake Sawyer? Yeah.
No, not that
Who else?
Jake. Other
Who else?
Jake. From the Lobos. He's freaking awesome. But I like to talk to somebody from the different coast, because I didn't know one interesting thing was that I did get out of that. I don't know if it was true or not, but I didn't know Dobbs and Sonny were friends. I didn't know that.
Dobbs, the
Pagan.
cop? Oh.
No, the Pagan, the one that started.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that too.
And I didn't know he was friends with Sonny. I was like, wow. That's the kind of stuff I'd like to hear about. And I'd like to hear if anybody was around during the 1% meeting in the 60s, when all the big clubs partitioned the states, hey, we're not going to go east of the Mississippi, or we're not going to go past I'd like to hear from them kind of guys who were there.
I got to interview some of those guys for my book MC Protocol 101, and it was very interesting to talk to some of those guys, man.
So
all right,
that
good
would
night, Kitty. Good night over there in the UK. Yeah,
see you
go
later,
to bed.
See you later, Kitty. Yeah, Jake and Dad served together in the Guard. We just want the Sunday show to be more upbeat and more educational, and because with the biker news, I can tell you guys straight up, and it could hurt our revenue, but if we make any anyway on YouTube, but it's not like a big war or something. It happens in individual places. It's not a whole freaking club wide thing. You know what I mean? It's not like, hey, everybody went down to freaking Texas and a freaking shootout happened. No, it's incidences within chapters, man. It's not a international type of deal. You're just tidbits, but when we do biker news, it looks like that because, hey, we're covering all this stuff. Funny how skewed all the original biker antenna showing people respect them. All modern egos and attitudes have destroyed a lot. That from Hardwire. Hollywood, just curious, how well did you know the DCs, if you don't mind me asking? I don't give out my personal connections, Jason. I can tell you that they're really freaking cool guys, man. If you want to think 60s and 70s, that's them. Friday, don't feel stupid, Hollywood. They are just two dudes that probably live in their mom's. Oh, those twin guys. Oh, they're cool.
I'd like to interview those guys. That'd be fun. That would be fun.
I don't know, man. If you're saying as bad as they are, man, how would that make you?
They have a mission, though, and I want to know what that mission is, because they keep, every time there's like this big news story, they come out and trash the 1%ers and stuff, and so they're on some kind of mission. I want to know what it is.
How the hell they trash 1%er? You said they wear 1%er diamonds.
Man, they do stuff like I haven't watched a lot, but they do stuff like hey, what are you guys gonna do? It's crazy. It's silly, man. It's just crazy. You gotta watch them. I'm not doing a good job explaining them because I haven't watched them a lot, but the stuff I've seen has just been like silly. Like, are you guys serious? Like, you do know you can get effed up like this, right?
Yeah, I'm not interested. Not them. I'll watch you do it, man.
Chris Lee said, if you do it, I'm out. If you do that interview, I'm out.
Oh, okay. Contact Phil Cross 81 Santa Cruz about his book Gypsy Joker. You know who that is?
No, but he can answer all your questions. He was there back then. Hey, let me tell you, this guy that
you write that down, BD. I don't got a pen.
Yeah, I'm typing it right now. This guy DCLM 48N. This guy is a little man, 1%er. His motorcycle club knowledge, and I want to shout him out. He helped me so much in my writing of the book Motorcycle Club Protocol 101. This man is so deep with his knowledge, Little Man One Percenter is just, if he says this guy knows what he's talking about, he does. I take him at his word for anything.
Well, why don't you bring him on, man, so we can pick his brain?
I don't know if he can come on, but I'll ask him.
Well, you don't have to come on in colors or anything, man. Come on as an historian, dude. Because that's where I'd like the biker angle to go, is talking about this kind of stuff instead of the dumb crap. Like the dumb crap today. Wannabe biker experts is boring.
Oh, I've seen this book many times. I've seen this book many times on Amazon. It's called Gypsy Joker. I've never taken the time to read it.
The hell, you're supposed
Joker to a Hell's Angel is based on 44 years as a Hell's Angel. Photos and stories are a must read for 44 years in the early 1960s as a young Navy vet, motorcyclist, amateur photographer, and rebel named Phil Cross. He joined a motorcycle club called the Hells Angels. It turned out to be a bogus chapter of the club that would soon find infamy. You remember that? A lot of people don't know that.
Do you know the one that really pissed me off, man? Is the one I thought that would actually try to be correct. And I didn't watch but 10 minutes of the movie. You'd ask China now, I turned it off. Was The Outsiders, man, because that was supposed to be based on the AOA, and it was totally bullshit.
The Outsiders are the bike riders.
The bike riders, I call them the Outsiders, but the bike riders, that did not. The guy, I guess, got killed at the end. He didn't die in real life.
Yeah, you told me that, and I was like, why he didn't die? Why would they say that he did?
So when you hope somebody is actually going to do something that reflects the history, I think it would have got more rave reviews if it was historically correct.
I met a lot of bikers. I saw a lot of bikers on the white set. When they were coming out of that show, they were incredibly disappointed.
Pissed
myself. I saw that show as a different thing, and I really liked the show. It wasn't there for all of the drama and all the stuff that you thought it would be. It really showed the takeover of a club. And having seen that in real life in my own club, it showed how a club grows too fast, and how a club can lose its social construct and become something completely different. Not necessarily what was intended by the founders.
Well, it was really freaking bad for me, man, because I was like, dude, he was still freaking alive until he was like 85 years old. And then they tried to say the guy who killed him was Taco. And I was like, that ain't right.
Is that what they were trying to?
They were saying it was. I was like, no. That's one thing I really wish I got to sit down with him again and, get his story out there, because what a lot of people, and when you brought up that other guy, that was from a prison channel or something. And the reason I got all upset was,
yes, you did,
because he could have freaking walked free, but instead he took the 2 life sentences. He was a gangster. He was a true 1%er. And in my eyes, being from Chicago, he was, the top of his game, man. There's nobody that could beat him. Sonny couldn't do it. George couldn't do it. Taco Bowman was the freaking man. Sorry to say, and there's where my freaking biases come out. But, in the 90s, if you ever see the book, you'll see. And that's why I got pissed off at that dude trying to call him that rat crap.
Let me tell you something. What disgusted me about it, and I got visibly upset. That's why I called you. I was so angry about it. And I'm like, I'm not even from that club. Why am I so mad? I was so mad because one of the things you don't do, you don't trash people after they're dead and they can't fight back.
Mm.
And you don't trash the name and the reputation of a person, but you damn sure don't do it with no proof. A friend of a friend told me that a friend said is bullshit. And I didn't like that. Where's your paperwork? Where's your documentation? This is the biker club world. We require documentation, and not a Word document like they put out on me. Not a Word document anybody could have typed on the computer. We want to see documentation. You said these things about this man, but it came from a guy I knew who knew a guy from a guy that I knew that I trust. You trash a whole man's.
Dude, you got to remember in Chicago, dude, we looked at him as a god, man. And for a guy to freaking, he's what, a prison channel, that prison channel guy. And that's what I mean about, when you're talking about these so-called experts, you got to know who the hell they are and where they come from. But that guy was a man. He was a man's man, dude. He was a true freaking outlaw. He's the best one that ever freaking walk again in them colors, dude. And you're going to sit here and try to call him that crap? That's bullshit. If you ask me, man.
Yeah, I remember when I first learned of his story and all of that kind of stuff, I was just like, wow, so somebody did that. Wow. They took that kind of time? Wow.
I don't know, man. You're right. Chris, Taco was the shit, dude. He was the epiphany of what a diamond was to a lot of people. And for some jackass to come out on YouTube and said, yeah, he was a rat, this, that, dude. You know what? Kind of fucking prick.
And they cast the worst aspersions on people. The worst aspersions. The stuff that is like the worst. They throw out words like rat and all kinds of stuff on people. The worst aspersions, the things that would make them like that would make them look bad and horrible and terrible. Like, why is that necessary? Keep doing your prison channel. You're doing fine.
Well, I might be one angle, but you know what my favorite documentary of all time was? Hell's Angels Forever. I loved that freaking movie because it was raw. It was true. That's the way it was. But then they put out the Bike Riders. I was like, what the hell is this?
I liked it. I liked the movie. Now, but so I was not affiliated with the club, so I don't know the inside. But it absolutely showed, in my opinion, it showed some of the consequences of growing too damn fast. And it get to the point in the movie, I don't know how much of this is true, but in the movie, it would get to the point where folks would walk up and say, yeah, man, we want to join the outfit. We want to join. Where are you guys from? I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of what eventually came was prospecting and all this kind of stuff. And that was probably necessary. Clubs found that probably to be very necessary to as they would see their social construct get kidnapped.
Yeah, but you also got to remember, man, they go all the way. They're the oldest diamond out there. They gone back all the way to 38, I think it was. Down the McCook. 38 or 39 it was. And then when the war started, that's when it calmed down. And then after the war is when it got back going. But yeah, AOA's been, well, not the AOA, but Outlaws have been around since 38 or 39, I think it was. And I seen that, what's it called? That short you put up on your Instagram, the South Side. That was the very first one. That was the mother chapter, dude. Friday just said 35, 1935.
Yeah, I was looking for it in my book here. I know I have it in my book, and I was thinking it was 35.
Nah, Juice, you're fine, Juice. Don't worry about it. You're rolling. Yeah, you got me.
Not confused with outlaw motorcycle clubs in general. In 1935, the Outlaws MC incorporated as the American Outlaws Association. Was founded in Illinois.
The AOA, the American Outlaw Association, I think was 61, but they come through 35. 35, and then in 61, I think they branded that.
Oh, well, then maybe Wikipedia had it wrong. That's where I got it from.
No, Steve Yonkers is I'm talking about a Diamond Club. Diamond was AOA in 35.
I like what Yonker said, the oldest MC in the USA, because
Yeah,
there's one more older, and that's
San
that
Francisco, ain't it?
no, over in the UK, there's a
Yeah,
motorcycle club.
okay, but I'm talking about in the United States was
Yonker.
Yonkers, San
Hmm.
Francisco.
No, Yonkers wasn't from San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco MC. They're two different MCs. You got
Yes,
Yonkers out of New York, and
yes,
then you had the San Francisco MC, West Coast.
yeah, but which one came first?
But the Outlaw one is 1935. That was the
Hmm.
Outlaws out of Cook.
Hmm.
Hold on, I'm going to their website. Let's see here. Make sure that I got this right. If not, I'm going to be looked at like an ass.
Yeah, go to the website, man.
Yeah, it has to be, because Friday just said it was 35.
Oh, that's what I have in my book, but you told me I was wrong.
No, I'm talking AOA came around in, what was it, 60s when they actually started using that moniker. All right, let's go here.
Yeah, let's go.
History. 1935, it was established. That was 79 years ago. McCook
Out of
Outlaws.
McCullough's Bar and Old Route 66, and yep, although the club stayed together during World War II, its original charter. Go back up. Its original charter members of the 1935 grew in size. The club decided to change its name from the McCook Outlaws to the Chicago Outlaws and moved out of McCook, reestablishing itself in Chicago. But it doesn't say that was 1950 something.
And that's where the wild one was 1959 when AMA came out, and the answer was AOA. Yeah, it was 1960s when they.
That's when they changed their colors after the movie, The Wild Ones. They changed their colors up a little bit.
Yeah, off the wild one. It already says here the Brando influenced the back patch.
Mm-hmm.
It goes into the 60s. AMA supervises all races in the USA, banned the World Outlaws from race clothing. Here's the one. This is what I was talking about. 63. Official member of the 1% Brotherhood of Clubs. I would love to hear from somebody from that time. The making it the first true 1%er club east of the Mississippi. That was 63.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And right here, let's see here. They had no form. The Gypsy Outlaws from Louis. No contacts at the time than Milwaukee. That's kind of like what happened with the Angels, man. There was people on the East Coast called Hell's Angels. And one of the things, as a historian that you really need to put, because a lot of people, they get pissed off when, they call it patch policing. Well, you got to remember in those times, you used to have a club on the other side of the freaking countries called the same thing, and
Mm-hmm.
they weren't affiliated with
And
you.
that's what patch policing started as.
Mm.
Going
What?
over there to make sure nobody had your damn patch. And if they did, one of a couple things happened. They were coming out of it, or you may have found them tough enough to bring into the club and patch over.
And that ride, the bike riders, I guess, had this ride in that movie going over to Louisville Brig. Here it is, 65. American Outlaw Association was born. And the skull was named Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see else here. You see how they used to have the freaking what is those rhinestones back then?
Yeah.
On the colors.
Yeah.
Columbus, they're a kick-ass chapter. France became the first European chapter. Taco in 84 became a member not belonging as the national president or national mother chapter out of Chicago. Then that's the overseas started. So yeah, it was 65. with AOA starting. See, we got to DCLM. He said that he'd come on.
Yeah, Little Man.
Yeah,
he said they actually went west to get the actual diamond. He'll send it to me.
So if we'd get him on, dude, we'd talk some club history there.
Oh man, that man knows club history. That's all there is to it. I spent hours with him on the phone, hours and hours and hours and hours writing my book.
And I'm looking up the Angels right now. I think they were what, 58?
No, they were around before then.
Or 48? Come on, supporters. How long have the Angels been around? I don't know that one.
They've been around since way before that.
Now their website ain't working.
1948.
That's what I thought, 48. And Pagans were what, 58?
No, I think they were like 67. Pagans were 67.
67? No.
Yeah.
They had to be around since 58.
Formed by Lou Dobkin in Prince George, Maryland. Yep. By 1957. Did I say 67? I meant to say 57.
Yeah, I was going to say.
She was formed by Lou Dobkin in Prince George, Maryland.
And that's the thing. I didn't know Lou Dobb. That's what I'd like to fact check that Vice episode. Fact check if Dobbs was actually friends with Sonny.
That would be interesting to know.
That'd be huge. That would be interesting. And I didn't know that according to them, again, we got to verify this, but I guess the Pagans were named after Dobbs's dog, Pagan.
That's what I heard.
And the Mongols were what, 67, I think it was?
The Mongols. 69.
69?
The Mongols, also known as the Mongol Brotherhood, was formed in Montebello, California on December 5th, 1969.
And I don't know about that, Jim. That's always been the rumor. The Angels was a flying bombing brigade, but I don't know if they actually named it after the Angels, was it?
So it says they formed a new MC and took the name of a World War II 303rd Bomber Squadron called the Hells Angels, or from the Hells Angels Squadron of the Flying Tigers in China during World War II. So it could be either or. There's like a couple different stories as to which one it was.
And what was the Banditos? When did they get going?
1966, San Leon, Texas, by a 36-year-old dock worker named Donald Eugene Chambers.
Oh, yeah, Chambers.
He named the club in honor of Mexican bandits who lived by their own rules.
And then you had JR for the SOS, Sons of Silence.
Mm-hmm.
And then Warlock.
Sons of Silence MC, an international 1% MC, was founded in Niwot, Colorado in 1966.
And MacGyver, he says Thunder Guards, they were one of the first diamond black clubs in 1965, weren't they? The Thunder Guards?
I think I thought maybe the Wheels of Soul were the first black diamond, but I don't. No, the first black diamond was the San Francisco Rattlers in 1958.
Wheels of Soul is out of Chicago. They started Chicago, right?
Philadelphia.
So we're going to get, hopefully Sunday coming up, we'll get DCLM on here and we'll talk some freaking club history, man. Because that's where I'm really at as far as one to talk.
Thunder Guards originated in 1965 in Wilmington, Delaware.
Delaware?
Wilmington, Delaware.
But I'd like to find somebody who was actually at that the Brotherhood of 1% deal in 63.
Yeah.
Because that's when they all drew up the lines. I know that. Because I remember when I was coming up, an old Vietnam vet talked about that.
Look at Little Man said in the 81 bedroom clubhouse, they have a photo of the bomber crew, and then the same guys in the photo are pictured with their bikes with their patches on, and their patches are also in a framed shadow box. He would know. He's been there.
Yeah, that's man. Purdue is one of the first, and then what? Oakland in 48. Come on, you're the historian here,
I
man.
don't know. I'm trying to go through my book. I don't know it off the top of my head. Damn.
All this education, what does it really lead to? What it can really lead to, Juice, is these younger guys understanding where they come from, or what they could. You imagine being a part of, say, 81 and not knowing its history, or AOA not knowing its history, or the pagans or the Mongols, the Ditos, and not knowing your history about those that came ahead of you, and maybe learning from their mistakes so you don't remake them. That's why. Do you know why clubhouses came along? Juice, do you know why clubhouses came along? It's because them freaking cops would always harass everybody when they went out drinking, going to bars. So they decided, well, get a clubhouse and put a bar in it. That the way the cops ain't doing nothing. Yeah, the Bobby pissed off bastards of Purdue. One of them helped with the Angels.
Pissed off bastards of Bloomingdale. Something.
I call them Bloomington.
Bloomington, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you want to know the history. That's why I want to get people on here that talk.
History is important, and no matter what you're talking about, whether you're talking about the American Revolution or whatever, history is important. History tells us where we're from. History tells us the mistakes we made in the past so that we don't repeat them in the future. But history also gives us our traditions and our why we're here and where we come from and all of that stuff. Without history, you don't know who you are. If you don't know who you are, you're meaningless. You just wander around bumping your ass into a tree stump. You just don't know anything.
Juice, with the education, where does it really lead to? You know, everybody's heard, BD's the protocol guy. I really never believed in that stuff because it is all regional and it's a lot different from where it's coming, but at least it gives you a basis, where you're not going to get your ass kicked. The oldest MC, but not a 1%er club from Hamilton. Do you ever heard of the Blackbird? Oh, that's Canada. And that's interesting, freaking how, if you look at Canada, how 81 became the dominant because of Mom Boucher or whatever his name was. He flipped the Popeyes and everybody else. So I get more into this history than I do freaking American history. I know everybody has their support that they throw to each club, a different club, but at the same point, like you said, BD, you want to hear about that. You want to hear about the you want to get a national, international on and hear about the biking stuff, not the other bullshit.
Because
how many people in the chat room actually knows how to throw up a tarp? How many of you guys have actually done it? Where you really can't do it nowadays because you probably get shot, but you're just running and running in the middle of a freaking cornfield. You pull over, you freaking tarp your bike, and you sleep. That's what they went through.
So the reason I want to know is because at the end of the day, most people went to motorcycle clubs, any kind of motorcycle club, because of their love of riding and the brotherhood of the bike before anything else. But they don't meet you in a bar fight, typically. Typically, they see you riding a motorcycle somewhere, and they say, hey, man, come ride with us, or something like that.
Well, a historian, didn't the Angels up in Canada or Biker News Canada, didn't they flip the Popeyes up there? 81 did, I think it was. because I know it was wild. Like Biker News Canada said, 80s and 90s, especially 90s with the Rock Machine. But the Popeyes, I think they were flipped by the 81 up there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get the history guy to talk now. I'm interviewing.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking to Biker News Canada. I don't know what happened up there in Canada, other than things I've read. I really am not a Canada expert. I know they had hell going on in the 80s, my bro. I only know the West Coast history. Do not have knowledge of the rest, but I was taught by the founder of the Diamond itself, who was the epitome of what the Diamond is, James Heavy Evans, from the Soul Brothers Motorcycle Club. And,
Are you coming next week, man?
Huh?
I'm asking DCLM if he's coming on next Sunday. See, Biker News, that's what I thought. 81 flipped Popeyes to get into Quebec. See, what I really find interesting is motorcycle clubs in America, that's our export to other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do the Angels or the Outlaws or Vagos or whatever it is up in Canada different from how do we do it here? If you ever listen to Dibber, it sounds like the clubs out in England, they still go by stuff that we did in the 60s, but they still have it now.
Yeah.
That I find interesting, or how it's different in Australia compared to what it is here. I always find that interesting because there are different cultures.
Yeah. Hey,
Like,
it's 11 o'clock at night, bro.
Oh shit, I got to get us gone, man. So we're gonna try to get you're gonna reach out.
Friday 1% said other countries are still more old school. Yeah. That's from what everybody I've talked to over there. Yeah.
Man. All right, guys. We're gonna try to get us a guest on next week. We're gonna be talking about history and all that good stuff.
Hopefully we got Biker News Canada coming on next week.
And DCLM, right?
Oh yeah, okay. Man, I hope so. That's
so
cool, man. I hope so.
Biker News Canada, you coming on next week, man, or what? We to get your input. Biker News Canada was with the Top 5 Club. Man, we're not going to tell you the club.
Really love it if he could come on. The stuff this man knows is just amazing. So I don't know if I'll get him or not. I don't know if we'll get him or not, but I will call him and ask him.
I'll come on. What time? 8 o'clock Central Standard, 9 o'clock Eastern. So what we'll do is I'll hit me up on Instagram. I'll send you a link next week and we'll get you on. Hopefully DCLM will come on and we'll really have some fun here on the biker angle, man. But everybody else, we'll catch you later. Rock on. Have a good one. Don't forget to get the books, all that good stuff. We'll talk.